only good-looking guy that want to crash.
He was a headhunter. He was a cheap shot artist.
So leave this one alone. She can tell right away.
Bo Eason, hard hitter. Bo would run into a brick wall.
Oh, he got his bell rung too, though. I mean, he is hurt.
You can see Eason at the bottom of the screen through that right leg and ankle. That is really gruesome. It hurts to watch.
Chuck Connors, Jim Brown, Marvin Hagler, and many others. Now add another former pro to the swelling ranks of athlete turned actor.
They're going to say, oh, we're going to see a football player do his autobiography. You know, he'll be lucky if he can talk. Bo is a true actor. This is a true acting piece.
Went to see a show last night, Runt the Litter.
Oh, yeah?
Down on 28th Street. Amazingly great. Bo Eason.
Yeah, I can't sit through a lot of plays. This was an awesome, awesome play.
It's such an insight into the human spirit and the dark side that we don't see.
I'd really like to branch out into this public speaking genre.
Bo is intense, he's present, he's alert, he's alive, he's a storyteller.
Please help me in welcoming the man who has been called the greatest speaker to grace the stage in decades, Bo Eason.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my friend, a great, great man, Bo Eason!
What's up, dude? How are you? I will. What's up, guys? What's up, sweetie? How are you? What's up, guys? How are you, man? Who? Yeah. All right. Yeah. What's up? How you guys doing? You guys got your phones? Got your phones? How are you? Hey, guys. What's up, man? Oh, the fellas are all over here. What's up? Ooh, okay. I'm coming over here. What's up, man? How are you guys? Oh. What's up? How are you? All the way here? When I was 9 years old, I had a dream. So I made a plan. And the dream and the plan was to be the best safety in the whole world. And I had 20 years to do it. Yeah, safety is a position in football for those of you who don't know. So here's what I did. Check it out. I stole some crayons from school when I was 9 and some of that old brown school paper, right? And I drew up this 20-year plan. Cool? I brought that 20-year plan with me today to Boston. You guys want to see it? Yeah. Woo! All right, just so you know, this plan is 49 years old. The piece of paper is 49 years old. And there it is, the 20-year plan, yeah. Woo! Now, this is my little Declaration of Independence, right? So this is me right here with the bad haircut, see that? That's how I drew when I was 9 years old. Look at that football. You guys check this out, watch this. Look at number 56 face right here. You see that? Yeah, mustache, right? Yeah, that's the 20-year plan. Look at those cleats, dude. No, man, I was 9. I was drawing it up. I'm right. Look at the handsome guy right there. Yeah? Yeah. And that is the 20-year plan, the little Declaration of Independence to be the best safety in the world. Now, yeah. Now, if If you want to be the best safety in the world, you got to be able to do one thing better than anybody else in the whole world. And that one thing you have to be able to do better than anyone else in the whole world is this. Boom, 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 boom. You've got to be able to run backwards faster than the fastest man in the world, whoom, runs forward. So every morning at 5 a.m., my dad would wake me up. He would whisper in my ear and tell me I was the best. I would run out on the wet grass and I would line up like this every morning since I was 9, boom, 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 running backwards every recess. At school, I was running backwards. All my buddies were running forwards. All the way up until I'm 19 years old. 10 years of waking up every morning and running backwards. 10 years. Now I'm 19 years old. To keep this dream alive, I got to go play college football, right? Play safety in college. There's 350 colleges that play football in America. 350. Guess how many wanted me to play for them? 0. You got it. Wow, that was good. 0. Not one school wanted me. Not one school wrote me a letter. Not one. Right? So now, how am I going to keep this dream alive? You know what I do? I invite myself. Right? Yeah. I just invite myself to a small college near my hometown called UC Davis. And UC Davis is up in, go Aggies, baby. Yeah, UC Davis is not far from my hometown up in Northern California. So Northern Cal. So I go there. I go to UC Davis and I walk in the locker room, right? They're not even expecting me. I show up in the locker room and I get in a line behind 100 guys in a line. And at the front of the line is this cutout window like this. And on the other side of this window are 2 equipment men, and these are the meanest dudes I ever met. Their names are Sid and Beasley, the meanest, tattoo-in-us having, baddest dudes I don't even want to talk about. They hated me. They hated freshmen because I weighed 145 pounds. But by the time I got to the front of the line, this is what I said to Sid and Beasley. I said, hi, you guys. I'm Bo and I'm a freshman. And I'd like to play football here at UC Davis. So now you guys listen. UC Davis is a Division II football team. They don't even give scholarships. Basically, it's an intramural sport over there, right? But I say to them, I want to play football. And to my shock, Sid and Beasley hand me a practice uniform and a helmet. I take it, they give me a combination to a locker, and I open the locker, I take off my civilian clothes, I hang them up, I put on this practice uniform with this helmet, and I run out to practice, my first college practice. It's about 100 degrees out there, and I practice my butt off for 2 hours, and at the end of the 2 hours, all 100 of us ran to the locker room. And the entrance to the locker room was right about here. And right in front of the entrance to the locker room is our head coach, a guy named Jim Soker. And he's standing like this, watching his men file by him. Until I got really close to him, this is what he did. Excuse me, freshman, Mr. Eason. Yeah, hi, son. Can I have a word with you? And I said, oh, shit, must have done good, right? Coach wants to talk to me already, must have done good. So I ran over to Coach and I said, hey, Coach, hi, how you doing? And Coach said, well, I'm doing pretty well. However, you, not so good. Here's the deal. You're too small and you're too slow to ever play football at this university. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away your dorm key, we're going to take away your meal ticket, and you are going to go home. Now, you could come back to school here, in a month's time, but you'll never play football at this university. I ran into that locker room as fast as I could. I went right to my locker and I opened it up. And I just took off that practice uniform and that helmet, and I hung it up. I put on my civilian clothes, and I ran as fast as I could out to the parking lot where my little tiny Ford Courier pickup truck was waiting for me. And I crawled in my 1977 Ford Courier pickup. It was a piece of junk. This thing, crap, right? It was rusted out. The windshield was busted. And I got in that pickup truck and I drove as fast as I could to the grocery store, as fast as I could to the supermarket. You guys, because 24 hours before this happened, I was sitting in my little truck in my mom and dad's driveway. And I was saying goodbye to my mom and dad for 4 years of college, right? And I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So all my older brothers and sisters, they all sat in their piece of junk car and they said goodbye to mom and dad and they drove off to college. And now it was my turn. So I'm sitting in my mom and dad's driveway. My mom's right there on the porch. I'm waving to her, goodbye, Mom. And my dad is standing right at the headlights of this pickup truck. Now my dad, he's a cowboy, right? He's a rancher. He doesn't ever talk, right? But he and I make eye contact through the broken windshield. And then my dad starts walking around the front of the truck and comes over to the driver's side window. And he knocks on the window. I said, oh shit, Dad's gonna say something. And so I roll down the window and I say, hey, Dad, what's up? And my dad still, he doesn't say anything. He just reaches into his back pocket. He pulls out his wallet. He opens his wallet, pulls something out of the wallet, and hands it to me through the window. And he said, son, take this to college. It was a $10 bill. I said, Dad, I don't need it. I don't need the $10. He said, son, just in case of emergencies, take the $10. Well, 24 hours later, I am so happy I got that $10 because now I'm at the supermarket, right? And I got no food. I buy the biggest jar of peanut butter that they had and 2 bags of old stale hot dog buns. I got back in that Ford Courier pickup. I drove to the locker room. I parked in the parking lot and I sat there in that truck and I ate peanut butter hot dog bun sandwiches for dinner. And I slept in that Ford Courier pickup, right? All night. The next morning, second day of practice, I just sort of did, what I always did, which was to pretend nothing happened. And I sneaked back into the locker room. Now, I was on my tiptoes like this, trying to make it to my locker over there, and I look up, and Sid and Beasley are right there, and they're standing like this. And I kept sneaking by them. I made my way to my locker. I opened up my new locker, and it was empty. There's no practice uniform in my locker. So I went back to Sid and Beasley. Sid, Beasley, hi you guys, you remember me from yesterday? I'm the freshman Bo. Hi. Hey, guess what, you two? There's been a big mistake. Yeah, there's no practice uniform in my locker. And Sid and Beasley go, yeah, there's no practice uniform in your locker because you're not on the team. We sent you home yesterday, took away your meal ticket, took away your dorm key, so get. And I said, no, you guys, I can't get because I got this dream, right? And I got this plan, and the plan and the dream is for me to be the best safety in the whole world. And I only got, 4 more years to do it. So I just figured, you know what? It would be great if you guys just gave me a practice uniform. Like who needs more practice than me? Sid and Beasley, tough guys, right? They stand their ground. But Beasley, he's got this soft underbelly. And this is what he says to me. Freshman, you wait right there. And he walks to the back of the equipment room. He grabs something off of the wall in the equipment room, something so old it had cobwebs on it. It was a hunk of cloth or something like that. It turns out it was a practice uniform from like the 40s. It was a relic on the wall. Jim Thorpe wore this uniform, I think. And he brought it over to the window and he said, freshman, if you'll put that uniform on, I'll let you go practice. I said, I'll take it. And I took this unmatching old relic and I ran as fast as I could right over to my locker. I opened up my locker, I hung up my civilian clothes, and I put on this unmatching uniform that doesn't match the rest of the team. I'm a different person than the other 99 guys. And they gave me a helmet that was so big, every step I took, it went like this. Do-doom, 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 do-doom. So I could only see every other step I took. But I didn't care. I took it, I ran out to practice, and I practiced with the varsity for 2 more hours. Nobody said anything to me. So I just kept practicing. 30 days goes by. Every night, I'm sleeping in my pickup truck. I'm eating peanut butter hot dog bun sandwiches. And in the morning, I show up to practice in an unmatching uniform with that big ass helmet. And I practice, and nobody, nobody says anything to me. But every once in a while, you guys, during practice, I would see other players or other coaches go up to our head coach, Jim Soker, and say, Coach, why is that goofy freshman here with the goofy uniform and the stuff and the helmet? Why is he here? But nobody said anything to me. So I just kept practicing for the whole month. Now, 30 days have gone by. Now it is time for our first game, and our first game is tonight. And all the players are supposed to show up in this locker room tonight at 6 o'clock to get taped and ready for the game. So guess what I did? Yeah, I just, kind of did, what I always did, which was to pretend nothing happened. And I sneaked in the locker room on game night. And I looked up, and sure enough, Sid and Beasley were right there. And I kept going all the way over to my locker. I opened my locker, and it was empty. No game uniform in my locker. I go back to Sid and Beasley. I say, Sid, Beasley, do you guys remember me? I'm Bo, the freshman. Do you remember? Guess what, you guys? There's been another mistake. Yeah, there's no game uniform in my locker. And Sid and Beasley say, yeah, there's no game uniform in your locker because you're not on this team. We let you practice. We thought that was really cute, but this is a real game with real players, and you're not one of them, so get. I said, no, you guys, I can't get. Because my mom and dad are going to wonder where I've been here for, 30 days. They're driving 3 hours to come, see me play. They're going to wonder where I've been, what I've been doing. And I just need a game uniform. I'll just run out. I'll just be in a game uniform. I'll just run out. It'll be okay. Sid and Beasley. Man, so tough. But Beasley, he's got that soft little belly. And this is what he says to me. Freshman, you wait right there. Again, he walks to the back of the museum again, grabs a relic, another one, off the wall. This is worse than the practice uniform. This one's from the 20s. Comes over, says, freshman, if you got the whatever it takes to put that uniform on. I'm going to let you run out on the field with the lights. But here are the ground rules, freshmen. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to run out under the lights. You're going to blend in with 100 other guys. You're going to wave to your mom and dad up in the stadium crowd, and then you're going to run to this little spot at the very end of the bench, and you're going to sit there the whole game, and you're not going to move. Because if you move and the coaches see you or the players bump into you, we're going to lose our job. Do you understand, freshmen? I said, I'll do it. And I took that game uniform that didn't match the rest of the varsity, and I went over to my locker, I opened it, took off my civilian clothes, I put on this unmatching uniform, still had the big ass helmet, same, right? And I run out on the field at night with the varsity. The marching band is out there. They're playing the fight song, and I'm running out like this with 100 other dudes. And I look up in the crowd, and I wave to my mom and dad, who are standing on top of the bleachers, and this is what they're doing. Oh, there's our boy. He's playing in his first college football game. Look at him. Little did they know, I'm not even on this team. And I run to the little spot where Beasley told me to sit, and I sat. The whole game, I just sat. And I just kept looking up at the clock and the scoreboard. And there was about 1 minute, 34 seconds left on the clock, and we're killing this team, man. We're killing them like 35-0. I think we're playing like Chico State. We're killing them. And I'm over here just looking at the scoreboard go up and looking at the clock tick down, and I could just think of one thing. I got to get in this game somehow. The number that they gave me off the wall, the number on my jersey was number 2. That was the same number, a duplicate number of our best player and captain of our team, a guy named Daryl Goss. He was number 2. Me and our best player, the captain of the team, are wearing the same number. And Daryl Goss is about right here, you guys, in a huddle. The kickoff team is about to kick the ball off. And so Daryl Goss has all the boys up there. He's like, fellas, listen up. Kickoff team, about to kick off. Here we go. Listen up. And I'm looking at Daryl Goss from my little seat where Beasley told me to stay. And I'm looking over there, and all I could see was that number 2 on Daryl Goss's back. And I looked down at my own chest, and it said number 2. And I said, this is my chance. And so I sneaked up behind Daryl Goss, and I tapped him on the back of the shoulder pad, and Daryl Goss turns around like this. He doesn't even look at my face. He doesn't even know who I am. He looks at the number on my chest. He said, why you got my number on? I said, Daryl, don't worry about that right now. I got to ask you a favor, Daryl. You see, I want to run down on the kickoff team for you. Daryl Goss like, shit, no, you're not running down on the kickoff team for me. I said, no, Daryl, the coaches, they'll be okay with it. You're our best player. You're the captain of our team. It's going to be good. Daryl Goss like, shit, yeah, you're right about that. So Daryl Goss got all the seniors, all his boys, and he goes, seniors, check this out. See that freshman over there wearing my number 2? That goofball is going to run down on the kickoff team for me. Let's watch him. So now UC Davis is going to kick the ball off, right? And let's pretend that going right down the middle of this stage is UC Davis sideline, all the way to the back of the arena. This is our sideline. So if you're in the field of battle, you're here. And if you're off the field of battle, you're here, right? So Daryl Goss lines up on the kickoff team. He's the very end man. He's 1 yard from our sideline. He lines up here. The kicker is there, going to kick the ball deep. He's going to run down and make the tackle, okay? Here's where I line up. Right before the kicker kicks the ball off, this is what Daryl Goss does. And this is what I did. And now, yeah. And now, the number twos have traded places. The kicker kicks the ball off, I take off. Now I am small, but I am fast because I am scared. And I'm running down that field as fast as I could. Now, if you are the first person to run down on the kickoff team, you're met with what is called the wedge. And the wedge is the 4 biggest players on the opposing team. And here's what they do. 4 across, 275 pounds each. They interlock arms like this, as if they're getting married. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. And they form a wedge. And they run full speed to give their ball carrier a place to run, right? If you are the first person to run down on the kickoff team, you become a wedge buster. And a wedge buster's job is to run full speed and dive right through the middle of the wedge and knock them all down so that, like bowling pins, so that your buddies can now make the tackle on the ball carrier, right? So I'm running down this field as fast as I could. And I look at my teammates, they're not down there and they're not as afraid as I am. And as I get closer to the wedge, my whole life just passed before my eyes. And everything turned to slow motion. And as I'm looking at the wedge, and I could only see him every other step because that helmet was going like that. But as I looked at the wedge, I just remember thinking, uh-oh. This is really going to hurt. And as I got to the wedge, instead of busting the wedge, this is what I did. I closed my eyes. And I went airborne over the wedge. And on my way back down to earth, I hit the ball carrier right in the chest. Bam! He goes flat. Yeah. And the crowd at UC Davis stands up. Yeah! And then I stand up. Yeah! And over the loudspeaker, I hear this. Tackle made by number 2, Daryl Goss. I dropped my arms and I tried to get off that field as fast as I could. Because the part I didn't tell you guys was, Daryl Goss is a 250-pound black man. I was trying to get to my little spot. Right there. And I turned back around. And Jim Soker, our head coach, the guy who sent me home 30 days ago, is standing there looking at me like this. And the real Daryl Goss is standing right next to him. And he's standing like doing this. And I looked up at the clock, and that last minute, 20 seconds ticked away. The referee shot the gun, and I sprinted as fast as I could right back into the locker room. I was the only one in there. I ran right to my locker, and I opened it, and I took off that gun-matching game uniform, and I put on my civilian clothes. I didn't even shower. And then I ran out to my Ford Courier pickup, and I sat in the parking lot all night, and I couldn't sleep. And I ate peanut butter and hot dog bun sandwiches. And the whole weekend, the whole night, I was dying, man. I was dying. I was thinking, you know what? That's it for me. You know, Sid and Beasley are going to get fired. Daryl Goss, he's not going to get to be our captain anymore. And they're going to send me home for sure now. But, you know, guys, I just kind of did on Monday morning what I always did. You know, just pretend nothing happened. And on Monday morning, I sneaked back in. And I looked up slowly to Sid and Beasley, and they were freaking pissed. And I walked by them, and I made my way over to my locker, and I opened it. And there was a brand new varsity uniform. You're not welcome. And 4 years later, I was the first safety chosen in the 1984 NFL draft. Every time I tell that story, I think of one guy, my dad, because of the way he woke us up. He woke up my 4 older sisters and my brother, and then I was the last one to be woken up. He would pull back the covers on, or 5 o'clock in the morning, and he would rub our backs, and he would whisper, "You're the best in there," and then he would say a few bad words right there. He seemed to finish every sentence with a bad word, as if it was punctuation. And he would rub my back like this, and he would whisper to each of us, "You're the best in there. Beep, beep. Keep moving. You're the best." He saw something in me and my brother and my sisters that we just couldn't see for ourselves. And luckily, the best thing that my dad gave to me was that same ability. That ability to see greatness in people and then speak to it until they fulfilled on their destiny or they fulfilled on their birthright, which I believe is to be the best. Yeah. Yeah. So much that I think about this so much, you guys, that I wrote a book about it, which is coming out in the fall, but I wrote a book about what it takes to be the best, because that's the only thing I've ever tried to do. The title of the book is "There's No Plan B for Your A Game." There's no plan B for your A game, right? So let me ask you, do you get upset? Or a lot of crowds, sometimes they go, "Well, Bo, that's conceited. You can't say the best. You can't just be the best at something." And I always say that they're lying, that that's not true. That I think we're born to be the best in the world at what we do. Does anyone want to argue with me about that? Like, would you prefer to be second? No. Right? Or third? Right? So that's never happened, right? But when you go back home, maybe some of your friends, maybe even a teacher or a coach might say, "Well, the best is a little much. Why don't you just cool off a little bit and just try to be mediocre," right? And this is what I want you to ask them. This is the next question you ask them, okay? If they say that to you, or if you feel embarrassed about being the best, here's what you do. Does anyone in here, raise your hand if you remember the day that you were conceived? The day of your conception, can you remember that day? Nobody? No, you? You can remember? I can't remember, right? I can't remember, and if you can't remember, let me give you a little refresher course of what happened on that day. Yeah, it's like health class all over again, right? Okay, so this is what happened on the day that you were conceived, and on the day that you were conceived, and on the day that I was conceived. 300 million sperm were delivered. 300 million, and you were one of them. Okay, yeah. So, 1 million years of design and evolution have taught those sperm to do one thing. What? To fertilize that egg, right? And when they're swimming along, do you think that is a casual swim? No, that is a swim to the death. So no sperm is going like this. Oh, I think I'll just do the backstroke and chill. And sperm don't even have arms, I don't think. Right? So look, you tell me then. You tell me when you want to push back against being the best, or your friends want to push back against being the best, you just remind them, and I'll remind you, who won the first race you ever entered? Yeah, you did. All these fellas right here did, right? Heck yeah. So listen, so now you're gonna be born, right? And now you're gonna have to prove that you're second best? No, thank you. We are the best. We are already the best. Got it? Got it? Be the best. 300 million to 1 odds. Be the best. You already are. Everybody got that? Okay, next thing I want you to do, let me ask you this. My 20-year plan, I call that a declaration. It is my little declaration of independence. How many of you have one of these? You got to have one. This little baby right here, it's in year 50, and I want you to save it so you can pass it on to your kids. This is almost 50 years old, you guys. This thing makes every decision that I make. This is my life, to be the best safety in the world. And after that was achieved, I just went on to the next thing. Be the best stage performer in the world. Be the best writer in the world. It doesn't matter. I know the odds. I know I won the race 300 million to 1. And you did too. So why not the best? You have to declare what you want to be the best at. Everybody got that? Yeah. So do it right now. Wait, listen. 5 seconds. I'll give you 5 seconds. No thinking. I don't want you to think. All I want you to do is just know it in your head. You don't have to tell anybody yet. I want you to declare what you're going to be the best in the world at right now. Just you and yourself. 5 seconds. Go. You guys got it? Did anyone want to win the silver medal? No. Isn't that weird? Nobody. Did anyone want to win the bronze, like be third place? Isn't that strange? Everyone wants to be the best because that's how you were born. You just have to remember that and then declare it and then live out of that declaration, no different than we do when the Declaration of Independence was drawn up by guys we don't know, right? 240 some years ago. Yet you and me wake up every morning and prove our freedom. And we live into that document. You're going to do the same. The same. Okay? One other thing I want you to remember is you and me, there's a distinction out there. And I want you to get your mind right who you are. Because sometimes we all forget, right? There are players, right? And there are fans. There are players and there are fans. Which one are we? My son, Axel. In fact, I'll bring him and his sisters up in just a couple minutes. But when he was about 9 years old, he's 12 now, right? But when he was about 9 years old, he had a chance to work with a quarterback coach. So my son wants to be the first man in the universe to play both in the NFL and in the NBA. So no one's ever done that, right? But he's going to do it, right? Because he already, yeah. Axel, my son, when he was about 9, it must have been 3 years ago, he had an opportunity to work with the best quarterback coach out there, right? So they said, these people called me and they go, hey, Bo, how would your son like to come work with Matt Ryan? Now, Matt Ryan just lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady in New England about 2 weeks before this phone call happened. And they said, Axel, how would you like to come down in Southern California, where we live, and train alongside Matt Ryan, the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons? And I said, that would be great. And so we went down there. So now Axel is 9 years old, right? So the whole way, we had to drive about an hour and a half, the whole way to go train with Matt Ryan, I'm reading Axel the Riot Act like I did with you guys a minute ago. And I was saying, Axel, we are not fans of Matt Ryan. We are players. We aren't getting pictures with Matt Ryan. We're not getting autographs with Matt Ryan. We're not wearing Matt Ryan's uniform. We are peers. We are players that respect Matt Ryan and demand that he respects us. This is a 9-year-old sitting in the car for 90 minutes. The whole time I'm going, Axel, we're not fans, we're players. We're not fans, we're players, right? So then we get there. And Matt Ryan is cool like you'd expect him to be. A Super Bowl quarterback, about 6'6", good looking, strong, great leader, right? Axel trains right next to him. Mind you, Axel's 9. He trains right next to him for about 2 hours. Matt takes his reps, Axel takes his reps. They never even talk for 2 hours. They don't say a word to each other. Then after the whole 2-hour practice is over, Axel comes running over to me. Right? And I'm just standing on the sidelines. Nobody's there. I'm standing on the sidelines. Axel runs over to me and he goes, Dad, that was really cool. And he goes, I was just working hard. I wasn't a fan at all. I wasn't asking for autographs. And I wasn't trying to get pictures. Nothing like that. And I go, I know, dude, you did really good. And as he's saying that to me, I look over Axel's head and guess who's running over to us? Matt Ryan. Super Bowl quarterbacks running over to us. And I'm like this, oh shit, it's Matt Ryan. I started to turn into fanboy, right? And I'm like, here he comes, oh no. And I go, Axel, don't look, be cool. And Axel's like, Dad, be cool, knock it off. And Matt Ryan got over to us and he goes, hey man, hey Axel, I just want to shake your hand, man. You know what I can't wait for is the day that I have to compete against you. I love how hard you work, yep. And then he said this, because right then I was like going, oh shit, I want to get a picture of Matt Ryan. I was turning into fanboy. And then Matt Ryan, being the leader that he is, this is what he did. He goes like this, hey man, does anybody out here have a phone? I want to get a picture with this kid. And I go, oh, I have a phone. And so we took a picture of Matt Ryan and Axel at 9. There they are right there. Right there. So that's when Axel was 9, yeah. Because Axel was a player, not a fan. He would have never done that had we asked for those things. Axel, Eloise, Lila, why don't you guys come up here real quick? Is there a stairway right there? Yeah. These are my 3 kids. How you doing, baby? Look good. This is Lila, she's 10. Yeah, this is Eloise, she's 14. And almost 15. 15 like in 2 weeks, right? And this is Axel. He grew up a little bit since that picture. He's 12 now. And these guys all have declarations that are really hard, the same kind that you just drew up, right? I want you to see what I fight for. I'll fight for you the same exact way. I want you to have the same training and the same wherewithal that they get to have every night, you know, with me. And that's why I wrote the book, so that everybody could have it, right? You guys, how you doing? How's the speech going? Is it good? You guys like it? They're really tough critics, a lot of times. Okay, thanks for joining me up here. Good to see you guys. I'll see you afterward there. Thanks. Love you. Woo, 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 woo! There is one person, you guys, there's one person. There is one person that exemplifies what I'm talking about the best. This sense of generosity of spirit, this sense of declaration, this sense of what it takes to be the best. He's a guy named Jerry Rice. Who's heard of Jerry Rice? Yeah? Oh, cool. Okay, good. For those of you who don't know who Jerry Rice is, he's known to be the greatest NFL player, the greatest football player of all time. So the NFL's been around like 94 years. He's the best to ever play. Now, I used to have to play against this dude. I used to have to guard Jerry Rice. That's a nightmare to guard Jerry Rice. It's a nightmare to play against a guy who's going to give all of himself all of the time, right? But at the end of my career, I got traded to the San Francisco 49ers. So me and Jerry Rice were on the same team. I was like, shit, that's good. Because I wanted to see what he did, right? This is what he did, you guys. This is what he did. So the first time that I ever practiced with the San Francisco 49ers, I walked out to training camp and I was the first one on the field, just like I always was. I come out to the field and I say, look, I'm the first one out here. Look at this. It looks beautiful. And I looked right over here, and guess who's standing right there? The greatest player in the history of a game. And I remember thinking, why is he out there? Why aren't the lesser players out there? Why is he out there? So Jerry and I start to warm up, right? 2.5 hours later, the rest of the team, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Roger Craig, Randy Cross, Ronnie Lott, they all come out to practice, right? And they start warming up. This is their warm up. Joe Montana, our quarterback, is going to take some snaps right here. And he's going to go nice and easy, and he's going to throw some routes to the wide receivers who are standing in a line right here. Jerry Rice is in this line. He's one of these 13 receivers trying to make this team. So the first receiver comes up, Joe Montana snaps the ball. This is what the first receiver does. All pro glide, all cool, all chill, drops off a little slant route. Joe Montana throws the ball. Receiver catches the ball, and he stops. And he walks the ball back to Joe Montana, gives Joe the ball, and gets back in line. The next guy that comes up does this. Shit. All pro glide, all cool, breaks off a little slant route. Joe throws the ball. Receiver catches the ball, stops, walks the ball back to Joe Montana, gives Joe the ball, and gets back in line. And then the greatest player in the history of the game walked up to the line of scrimmage, and this is what he did. Shoom! Full speed, bam! Breaks off a slant, catches the ball, bam! He is gone. Whoom! He is gone. And all of us are like, where in the hell is he going? 100 yards, full speed, all the way to the end zone, puts his body in the end zone, turns around, full speed, all the way back to Joe Montana, gives Joe the ball, gets back in line. I was like, damn. Yeah. Then we're gonna run a little out route, okay? Joe Montana snaps the ball. The receiver's up there. This is what the receiver does. Shit. All cool, breaks off a little out, catches the ball, stops. Hands the ball back to Joe Montana, gets back in line. And then Jerry Rice came up again, and this is what he did. Bam! Boom! Catches the ball. Whoom! He is gone. Whoom! He is gone. 100 times he must have done that in 3 hours. He must have gone 10 miles, full speed every time. Full speed all the way back every single time. I never seen anything like it. So at the end of the practice, I went up to Jerry Rice. I played football for 20 years. I was like, damn, Jerry, what the hell are you doing, man? I said, tell me, Jerry, what the hell are you doing? I mean, what is all that? You know, that. The running. Why you do that? And Jerry Rice goes, oh, Bo, that's very simple. I do that because every time these hands touch the ball, this body ends up in an end zone somewhere. All right. There are no accidents. There are no accidents. I never seen anybody so generous with how much he gave to the game. You guys, just a couple of years ago, my wife came running into our room and she goes, Bo, sweetheart, guess what? Guess what just happened? Jerry Rice, he's on Dancing with the Stars. What do you think I said? He's gonna win. And he did win. He beat all those celebrities. And Jerry Rice can't even dance. But I knew he could outwork them. I knew he'd outwork those celebrities. So you have to remember, you have to surrender to the fact that you're already born the best way before I got here. Number two, you have to make your declaration of independence, no different than mine and my kids. You are players, not fans. Players, correct? Players. Yes. But you know what? You got to give all of yourself, all the spirit that you got, just like Jerry Rice. Now listen, I hope later after this, I want to get a picture with you guys. I do, yeah. Peer to peer, player to player, not fan player, player to player. Ultimate respect, photograph with you. Is that cool? Who's the best? Stand up. Stand up. Who's the best? Woo! Not number 2, not number 3, right? The best. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.